imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show under the world of outlaws.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome tonight to the Dre Broadcasting Network as we go back side by side with the Roaring Thunder Racing League. Tonight is the Pocono Indy 250. That's the Pocono Indy 250, round number 13 of 16 of the Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon IndyCar Series, brought to you by the Roaring Thunder Racing League. Your commentator Sean Zulu, and up here in the booth with me is David Everly. How are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good, Sean. How you doing?
Doing good too, thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, Pocono Raceway, this is a tricky triangle. That's a tricky triangle. 3 turns and 2.5 miles in length. It's going to become very interesting here all race long as the drivers here tonight running all the way from about 42 second lap times to about 43, 44. Just depending on the draft. That's right, the draft. This track is all about draft. A lot of straight stretches in this case, 3 of them, you know, between turn number 1 and 2, turn number 2 and actually I think I got that wrong. Turn number 1 to turn 2, then turn number 2 to 3, then again 3 to 1, because again it's a triangle, only 3 turns. Well, looking here, actually let's take a recap from last week's race. We had, that was at Mid-Ohio Motorsports Park. We had Jeremy Horn bring it home for the first time this season, and Jeremy Horn is the defending champion. Robert Barras came out 2nd, Rolf Just came out 3rd, Charles Smith came out 4th, Ronald Vincent came out 5th, and Jeff Dodson did round up the rest of the field in 6th place. Yeah, last week we were missing a lot of our regular drivers due to almost everybody, well, most of them, if not all of them, were running the 24 hours of Daytona and were pretty tired and could not tackle the road course Mid-Ohio, which is also one of the most difficult tracks there is here on iRacing, well, on the road side of things when it comes down to it. Well, moving on to our point standings, we have Robert Barras still in the lead. That is Robert Barras still leading in points. He has 10 wins under his belt. Charles Smith 2nd, Jeremy Horn 3rd, Mark Kochik 4th, Jim Whaley Jr. 5th, Jeff Dodson 6th, Mark McFadden 7th, Ronald Vincent 8th, Stephen Leffler 9th, Keaton Bummersbach 10th, Pocono 11th, Noah Lewis 12th, Simon Thorns 13th, we have Shane Gross 14th, Art Peck 15th, Corey Silva 16th, Kyle Nadu 17th, John Morgan 18th, Caleb Thompson 19th, Evan Black 20th, rounding up the top 20. And we have Rick Mason, Rolf Just, Seth Schultz, Justin Anderson, John Estates, Jason Allison, and Glenn Bowen rounding up the rest of the points. And Rolf Just, that was his first race last week at Mid-Ohio and is still racing tonight. It is great to have him back. Well, going back to the race, one sec. Going back to the race here tonight at Pocono Raceway. Once again, this is 2.5 miles in length, 3 turns in total. And the drivers have a 75% fuel limit, that is 75%. And tonight, 100 laps to come, that is 100 laps. And expecting at least 3 required pit stops in order for them to be able to make it the full length of the way. Once again, 100 laps. Well, looking at the track state here tonight, we have a 105-degree Fahrenheit track temperature, that is 105-degree Fahrenheit track temp, with 78-degree air temperature, with partly cloudy conditions, afternoon, and winds from the north at 2 miles per hour. And currently the drivers are qualifying. But looking there in practice, we had Sean Butler. This is a new driver here this season. Sean Butler had the fastest practice time. But so far qualifying, he has been beaten by the 48 of Mark McFadden. But the qualifying is still going on as we speak. Actually, just now ended as I was speaking right there. Looking there in the chat, we have Christopher Potter. That is Chris Potter in the chat. Welcome back, Chris. And Chris Potter is the crew chief to the 98 of Noah Lewis. Hope you're doing well tonight, Chris. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here tonight for the Pocono Indy 250, round 13 of 16, Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon IndyCar Series. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on the pole here tonight is the 48 of Mark McFadden, Robert Berra starting second. We have Sean Butler, new driver, starting third. Simon Thorns, fourth. 98 of Noah Lewis starting fifth. Ronald Vincent, that is Ronald Vincent, sixth. That's also always a tongue twister for me. Jeff Dotson, seventh. Jeremy Horn, defending champion, eighth. Stephen Leffler, ninth. And Charles Smith in the 10th place position. We have the 43 of Rolf Just. This is his second race here. Rolf Just starting 11th. Joshua Jones, first race as well, 12th. 51 of Paul Cohen, 13th. Mark Kochik, 14th. And we have Jim Whaley Jr. Rounding up the rest of the field in the 15th place spot. So tonight we have 14 drivers starting the race, with 2 new drivers joining us. That is Sean Butler and Joshua Jones. Oh man, we got George Gibbs Jr. in the chat. Welcome back, George Gibbs. You doing well? Hope you're doing well out there, man. It's been a while. And Christopher, unfortunately, we can never get any interviews before the race begins due to the limited time. But we're going to get interviews in before the race ends for sure, under caution if we have any cautions, or even at the end of the race. Well, ladies and gentlemen, unlike last week's race at Mid-Ohio Motorsports, the road course, these drivers tonight are not going to be independent. They will be draft dependent, if that makes sense. It's all about the draft, and these things draft way too well, ladies and gentlemen. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how these drivers handle that. So far, Robert Barras trying to take that spot away from Mark McFadden. We know every time Robert Barras takes the race lead, it's very difficult to take it away from him. And I know the 8 of Sean Butler from previous leagues. He's an amazing driver. He knows how to get the job done. So Robert Barras has to watch out because he has a lot more competition. Well, entering the final turn here, turn number 3, going green. The green flag is out, and 48 of Mark McFadden abuses the right pedal on the outside lane. Robert Barras trying to challenge him a drag race here before turn number 1, and we are now green flag racing lap 1. Pocono Raceway, that's the Pocono Indy 250 Pocono Raceway, race 13 of 16, Roaring Thunder Racing League, Verizon IndyCar Series. And already the 8 of Sean Butler trying to poke his nose into this mix right here behind both 75 of Barras and 48 of Mark McFadden. But so far he's just pretty much trying to figure out which lane he's moving. And at the moment it is the outside lane. It seems like entering turn number 2 he ends up staying high. But Simon Thorns to his inside. And I had that turn all wrong. That was turn number 3. And we see Simon Thorns gets around Sean Butler. And that bumps Butler down to 3rd place. Actually, down to 4th place, sorry, from 3rd place. And Simon Thorns up to 3rd. But up front, we have a new race leader here on lap number 2, the 75 of Barras. And some more drivers trying to make their presence known. The 3 of Jeff Dotson, for example. On his outside, he has the 98 of Noah Lewis. They are side by side as we speak. And here, Jeff drafting off the 8 of Sean Butler. Wow, we have 98 of Lewis now drafting off Sean Butler, who then ended up going all the way high. These drivers all trying to just take advantage of the draft the best that they can. And their best bet to make up time and positions is to get good runs off these turns. Oh man, Jeff Dotson's right rear ended up kissing the wall on the exit of turn number 1, but no harm done. Well, he lost a couple of spots to Charles Smith and Jeremy Horn, bumping him down to 8th place from 6th. And speaking of Jeremy Horn to the inside of 98 of Noah Lewis. They end up going side by side off turn 3 here. And Noah Lewis a slingshot off the exit of turn number 3. But now all over the rear end of the 8 of Sean Butler. But Butler is still keeping his cool, just trying to ride, trying to buy his time, trying to stay alive for the very end of the race. The race is still young. 4 laps in and 100 laps here. Well, in this case now about 96 laps to complete, and 4 laps complete already. And we have Sean Butler who just got around the 48 of Mark McFadden. So Mark McFadden just went from the race lead there in the beginning of the race to 2nd place and now to 3rd. Oh, and very good question there, Christopher. Are tires a big deal here on this track? Not as much as we might think. The tire wear on these things is actually very good. Oh no, Mark McFadden taps the wall off the exit of turn number 2, turn 1 actually, and as a result gains a lot of right side damage, but somehow still being able to maintain his momentum with the draft help of 13 of Charles Smith. But a free lunch program has been seen by the 14 of Jeremy Horn, who is now side by side with him. And a battle for second place going on is between Simon Thorns and Sean Butler. Sean Butler falls short and just falls back in line here so far to just try and pounce at a later stage here in the race, but he's not in the clear just yet. 98 of Lewis all over his rear end, actually now side by side as we speak. And a lot of drivers very bunched up as we speak. Here we have the 48 of Mark McFadden, Stephen Leffler. We have Jeff Dodson, including Ronald Vincent. Jeff Dodson seems to be just dropping like a rock here so far. But it seems like he's starting to stabilize slowly but surely. He ends up going all the way high past the 37 of Ronald Vincent. And now his next victim is Stephen Leffler. And they are single file. Oh man, these machines get very, very good draft once again, ladies and gentlemen, and as a result, these guys end up pushing very, very tight and hard entering these turns, and they have to be very careful. We've already heard of or noticed some drivers get too friendly with the walls due to their machines pushing up, carrying too much speed through the turns. That is never a good thing. And for the back in this pack of the 43 of Rolf Just. Rolf Just here so far just keeping a low profile in the 11th place spot by 51. No, they made contact. 51 of Pocono into his inside. They made contact. It was enough to shake Rolf Just. But that was pretty much it. So nice save by both drivers. And right now I'm monitoring the 51 of Pocono, and Pocono's machine seems to be very, very tight. It is really, really pushing in these turns, and he's trying his best to counter it by backing it down in time and arcing it nice and low to the inside from the outside, rather than going from the inside to the inside, because that could be quite disastrous. But as we speak now, Pocono getting very close to a battle here between Rolf Just and the 37 of Ron Vincent. Oh no, Ron Vincent in the wall. Oh, I was not Ron Vincent, I apologize. I'm gonna try and see the name. That is Stephen Leffler in the wall off the pace as we speak, is now crawling on the front straightaway. Oh man, that is very rough for Stephen Leffler as we speak. His machine's rotation is very messed up. The front suspension is pretty much gone as we speak. He's just trying to crawl down towards pit road at a very slow rate because he's not sure whether or not he... Oh, what was bad netcode looks like? Yeah, the cause was bad netcode between him and the 3 of Jeff Dodson. Absolutely there, Chris. Yep, no caution. We stay green flag racing. And that was a nice save. We owe that all to the 72 of Stephen Leffler for keeping... Oh, actually, the caution just flew right now, but that was not on Stephen Leffler. Can I see who was involved?
Well, that's going to involve the 43 of Ralph Just as we both the Dre Broadcasting replay. Go back and take a look and see what happened. Looks like some contact there between Ralph Just and I didn't get the other car, but he goes hard into the outside wall. Looks like that's going to be a lot of damage to that machine.
Oh, indeed, man. Very unfortunate for both drivers involved in that. But Rolf just getting the worst end of that deal. Front wing completely gone. But not to worry, ladies and gentlemen. The drivers do have one backup car, one quick fix, one fast repair. So he will be out there before too long with a brand new machine and ready to do more damage in terms of competition. But going back up front here, we are being led by Robert Barras here behind the pace car. The 8 of Sean Butler in second place. 57 of Simon Thorns third. Noah Lewis fourth. And 13 of Charles Smith in the 5th place spot. And we have Steven Leffler getting towed down to pit road. So hopefully he's able to get back out there. He's actually very happy to see the caution, because now he'll be able to be back on the exact same pace as everybody else. Well, in this case, everybody's going to get bunched back up as one whole pack again. So that's going to give Steven Leffler another opportunity to stay in the draft and get up there and hopefully get his lap back the hard way, because now he's being shown one lap down. And hopefully he's able to leave pit road before the next time around for the leaders get around him. But here, Robert Barras is leading everybody down pit road, and everybody seems to follow. Yeah, most definitely there, Chris. Yeah, he will be a multiple laps down, Steven Leffler. But the good thing is the race is still very young here as we speak. We are 13 laps in and 88 laps left. Yeah, the race is still very young, so it's still looking up. And this does give us time to get a race interview in. So let's focus on one of the new drivers, the 8 of Sean Butler. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined up in the booth by the 8 of Sean Butler, new driver here with us. Got a call up there, Sean?
Hey, yes, I got you.
Long time no see, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How you guys doing?
Oh, doing good too, thanks. Man, making your first appearance here tonight, and you've made your presence known here this far. You did start in the 3rd place spot and had the fastest practice time. How's the machine been doing?
This thing's pretty good. It's just trying to get used to it and how it drafts, especially in the corners when you're really close to somebody. You got to really be careful because it gets real tight.
Oh man, indeed. You know, and this track is all about the draft, the tricky triangle. And like you said, we talked about how these things draft way too well. So at this point, what's your game plan to be successful or for success?
I'm just trying to ride it out and just try to maintain position up here. Fortunate to find myself still up here in the top 3, and just try to maintain this positions and just try to be up here close to the front at the end and make the right moves and maybe win one out here.
Oh man, sounds like a plan right there. Well, buddy, stay alive as usual, and we look forward to seeing you one spot higher on lap number 100. Good luck to you. Make us proud.
Thanks, guys.
And that was the 8 of Sean Butler, and we were 1 to green, but the caution got delayed, so we're going around 1 extra lap. And here, this is single file restarts and 1 less pace lap as a result. Yeah, amazing paint schemes by these drivers nationwide, by the 8 of Sean Butler. And up front, Robert Barras, the usual Hellman's machine. Further back here, Simon Thorns has the play seat. Exalta by 98 of Noah Lewis. And it goes further down the list. And ladies and gentlemen, like I talked about there, for those of you that might be new, might never heard it, this is the Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon IndyCar Series, round 13 of 16. So if you guys would like to be a part of the action, just check them out at their website, americantracker8.wixsite.com. That's American Tracker, the number 8.wix, that's W-I-X-S-I-T-E, wixsite.com/RTRL. Or check them out on iRacing at Roaring Thunder Racing League. You guys can join the action anytime you want. And on Tuesdays, they have a Pro Mazda series, while here on Saturday nights they have an IndyCar series. So both open wheel machines, open wheel series. So you guys can join either of those or both of those based on your preference and availability. So once again, Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing, AmericanTracker8.wixsite.com/RTRL. You're watching this live on the Dre Broadcasting Network. Yep, and this time we are 1 to green here. The single file restarts, being led by Robert Barris, Sean Butler 2nd, Simon Thorns 3rd, Noah Lewis 4th, Charles Smith 5th, Jeremy Horn 6th, Mark McFadden 7th. We have Jeff Dotson 8th, Ronald Vincent 9th, and Pocono rounding up the top 10. So far we have one driver new to the top 10, and that is the 51 of Pocono. Last we checked, he was having difficulties with the machine in the turns there due to carrying way too much speed, getting run off other drivers' bumpers, just like the 8 of Sean Butler had talked about. These things once again draft way too well, and with that great draft comes greater responsibility. And we have also Joshua Jones 11th, we have Rolf Just 12th, Mark Kochik 13th, Jim Whaley Jr. 14th, and Steven Leffler in the 15th place spot. Status check on Steven Leffler. He is back on the track, brand new machine, and ready to get 2 laps back the hard way. Rolf Just back as well on the track with a brand new machine and ready to get the job done. But up front, the green flag is out, and Robert Barris finds the gas pedal. The 8 of Sean Butler saw it coming in time to maintain 2nd place spot against Simon Thorns, and the 98 of Noah Lewis. Green flag racing. Simon Thorns drifts way high in the butt of the race lead. Up front, we have the 8 of Sean Butler to the inside of Robert Barris. At the exact same time, Butler was being assisted by the 98 of Lewis, but Lewis ended up going back up high to get a good entrance to the to turn number 2. But up front, still side by side for the race lead. Sean Butler edges him out of the exit of turn 4, but slingshot engaged by 75 of Robert Barris, and that will let Barris maintain the race lead. Nope, scratch that. Sean Butler, new race leader, lap 17. But Robert Barris is not done with him just yet. He's gonna fight until the death. Not gonna give up that spot that easily. 98 of Lewis is watching the battle from his cockpit. And a new driver approaching this makes the 14 of Jeremy Horn was getting very close to Noah Lewis, but then he just backed it off there and lost all his momentum and speed against 57 of Simon Thorns, who is now on his outside, and that's for 4th place. And for the back in this pack 51 of Pocono making moves for days here as we speak. Going around 37 of Ronald Vincent here as we speak. They almost make contact, but no harm done. Still green flag racing. Both drivers maintain their speeds and momentum. And now we have Pocono's next victim, the 48 of Mark McFadden, for the 8th place spot. Going back up front, 98 of Noah Lewis is flexing his muscles as we speak against 75 of Robert Barras. Barras now bumps down to 3rd place against these drivers. But oh man, looks like off the exit of turn number 1, they both push up. That was 98 of Lewis and Barras. And that causes a free launch program for 57 of Simon Thorns and the 14 of Jeremy Horn. And you might think that up front, Sean Butler is having a Sunday drive, but, you know, this is not the type of track where you would, you know, want to pull away from the rest of the field as a leader and hope to maintain that race lead. The draft is what is the most important thing at this track, ladies and gentlemen. So with that said, Sean Butler is not going anywhere. And here we have Robert Barras making a move against the 98 of Noah Lewis. Lewis on the outside, Barras to the inside. Barras gets around him successfully and on the exit of turn number 2. And now Barras' next victim is this 57 of Simon Thorns. Actually scratched that. Yeah, that is Simon Thorns. But behind them, when Jeff Dodson and Charles Smith have a position change. And Jeff Dodson got bumped down to 7th and Charles Smith in 6th. Yeah, very, very true there, Chris. It's all about the draft, no trouble. And for the back in this pack, the 48 of Mark McFadden was up front. He did qualify on the pole tonight, but has been keeping low profile ever since the caution had flown. And now being challenged by the 51 of Pocono. And as we speak, looks like Mark McFadden's machine does have some damage. Yeah, I believe he was one of the drivers who got too friendly with one of the walls there on the exits of one of these turns. But no harm done. He is still rolling as we speak. His next victim being the 76 of Joshua Jones. I haven't spoken much of Joshua Jones here tonight, but he is an amazing driver as well. His first appearance tonight is now new to the top 10 after starting in the 12th place spot and now in 8th. Going back up front, we have a new race leader. That is the 14 of Jeremy Horn. But a butt of the race lead between him and the 8 of Sean Butler. Butler to the outside. He makes it stick nice and tight on the outside. Off turn 2, off turn 1. The exit. He gets around him successfully. But a big charge off the rear end of Butler by Jeremy Horn. And still side by side. It's all about that timing right there, ladies and gentlemen. We saw right there, Jeremy Horn made a textbook pass against Butler. He let him lead. Well, he ended up falling back in line, but then ended up pulling out very quickly due to the run that he was gaining. But now Sean Butler getting some pressure from the rear end, and that's 57 of Simon Thorns. Yep, Sean Butler, when we spoke to him up here in the booth, he talked about he's just going to take it easy, just buy his time, not force any matters. And so far here, he's still keeping the 14 of Jeremy Horn in sight. But keep in mind, once again, he's not going anywhere. Jeremy Horn, that is, due to this draft. And a big run by both Sean Butler and Simon Thorns against Jeremy Horn. But the runs keep dying here in the turns because they are lifting to avoid getting claimed by the wall. But a very, very long straightaway between turns number 3 and turn 1. And for the back in the pack, all the way in the 14th place spot, I haven't spoken much of 33 of Mark Kochik tonight, if any, but he too is an amazing driver. He prefers to start to keep a low profile pretty much for more than half the race. Then he ends up making it count, or goes for it when it counts, and actually makes it count when he goes for it. But now his next victim is the 37 of Ronald Vincent, who in turn is following the actually that was Stephen Leffler, whose next victim is the 37 of Ronald Vincent. So far Mark Kochik is buying his time, just keeping a low profile. At the same time is trying to keep the draft of Steven Leffler, because this track is all about the draft here. Running 43-second lap times, about 1.5 seconds slower than their qualifying times. Yeah, and Chris, I'm not sure what the fuel window, the pit window is. So it's going to be interesting to find out here before too long. So the drivers so far have run 15 laps on the caution flies as we speak.
Going back to the Dre Broadcasting replay, it's going to be the 76 of Joshua Jones as we take a look at the replay. See what happened to the 76 of Joshua Jones. Looks like he may have tapped the apron there and got squirrely and just kind of went for a heck of a roll down on the pit road.
Oh man, that was a violent crash by the 76 of Joshua Jones, and he flipped in every single direction. He flipped a lot, and hopefully he's doing well, man. But he still has that one backup car, so he's still in it to win it. And he was trying his best to get his machines out of the guardrail, because it was stuck in the guardrail, and had no choice but to tow down to pit road after doing quite the burnout with the smoke show, trying to get out of that wall. But going back up front, we are being led by Sean Butler, Jeremy Horn second, Robert Barras third, Simon Thorns fourth, and Charles Smith in the fifth place spot. Oh man, and unfortunately the 72 of Steven Leffler, who is the only driver 2 laps down, will not be able to get away from the pace car because he was not behind the pace car, or he was on the lead, or ahead of the leaders in this case, when the caution came out. The only way he can get that wave around if the leaders go down pit road and decides to stay out. Cannot find my words. So we're gonna see what happens. And Sean Butler leading everybody down pit road here as we speak, and everybody is following. Yeah, but Steven Leffler is staying out. Actually, thinking about it, maybe he might get an end-of-the-line penalty by the iRacing officials once the leaders exit pit road, but hopefully that is not the case. It has been a very long time since I was in the situation, and 76 of Joshua Jones ended up going 1 lap down as a result of the incident there, and had to tow down pit road once again, but is now back out on the racing surface behind Steven Leffler as we speak. And Sean Butler was able to win the race off pit road. Robert Barras came out second, Jeremy Horn third, Simon Thorns fourth, and 13 of Charles Smith in the fifth place spot. Oh, actually looks like, yep, the 72 of Steven Leffler, if he stays out, is going to be able to get that 1 lap back once we go 1 to green. The lights on the pace car do turn off, and yep, Steven Leffler gets around it with his foot down to the floorboard and is now back to 1 lap down from 2 laps down. We are back 1 to green. Sean Butler leading, Robert Barra second, Jeremy Horn third, Simon Thorns, Charles Smith, Noah Lewis, Jeff Dotson, Poe Cohen, Ronald Vincent, and Mark Kochik. And that is 1st through 10th respectively. And Mark McFadden here going 1 lap down, I believe. Yep, looks like Mark McFadden is 1 lap down as well, so I'm not sure what happened to Mark McFadden. Everybody getting bunched up nice here as we speak, getting very close. They'll be doing that, tightening up even more and exiting turn 3, because here on the restarts, this is where you can either gain a spot or lose a spot, or even spots for that matter. So these drivers try to take advantage of it. And what I've noticed here, I keep forgetting about this, but the green flag flies before the pace car even reaches pit road. As soon as it takes a left, the lights do end up turning green, so these drivers have to be on their toes every single time. The green flag is out before the pace car even takes a left off the racing surface. And here we have Sean Butler being challenged by 75 Robert Barras, already side by side as we speak. And Barras with a bigger run trying to outshift him, entering turn 1. Oh man, it's a free lunch program against the 8 of Sean Butler, going from 1st place to 3rd place in 1 lap against Robert Barras and 14 of Jeremy Horn. But so far, Horn trying to clear him, and looks like the 57 of Simon Thorns as well, trying to poke his nose into this mix against the 8 of Sean Butler. But Butler gets back in line, cuts off Simon Thorns, and maintains 3rd place. Now we have Jeremy Horn trying to go against the race leader Barras here as we speak, but off turn number 3, Jeremy Horn gets a bad exit. As a result, goes from 2nd place to 3rd place back again here on lap 32 behind the 8 of Butler. A new viewer tuning into the chat, it is Austin Hawkins, Craig Hawkins. Welcome back, Austin. Hope you're doing well. And further back in the pack, we have some side-by-side going on as we speak. It's actually between Mark Kochik and, actually that just changed. It's now Rolf Just and the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. side-by-side. But Rolf Just gets around him off the exit of turn 3 with the high lane advantage. And now Rolf Just trying to occupy the outside of 33 of Mark Kochik. And last we spoke about Mark Kochik, he was riding in the 14th place spot, just keeping a low profile. But now he's making moves as we speak, his next victim being 37 of Ron Vincent. And Mark Kochik just went down to 11th place from 10th place by the 43 of Rolf Just. And now Rolf Just has his eyes on the other prize. It is the 37 of Ron Vincent. Oh man, Rolf Just has not had enough. He's going back at it against Ronald Vincent. Side by side they go, entering turn number 1. But looks like Rolf Just ended up backing it down due to him having a poor race line, or entry in this case. As a result, he is bumped down to 11th place from 10th place by 46 of Jim Whaley. And up front, some side by side going on the 3 of Jeff Dodson, 98 of Noah Lewis going at it. Noah Lewis on the inside, Jeff Dodson on the outside. Jeff Dodson able to lead quite the nose against him, actually a car length, and now is able to clear him. Entering turn number 1, 98 of Lewis just backs it down here, buying his time, trying to set him up for a later stage of the race later here in the next upcoming laps. By the way, Noah Lewis has been driving, man. He's been on a roll trying to catch up to the leaders up front, because as we speak, both Jeff Dodson and Noah Lewis are being shown about roughly 7/10 of a second behind the 5th place driver, Simon Thorns. But Lewis gets around Jeff Dodson successfully, and that bumps Jeff Dodson down to 7th. But up front, some side by side of 2nd place going on. Jeremy Horn here, Sean Butler. That just changed. That was now Sean Butler and Charles Smith were going at it. Oh, actually, we have 2 battles going on here. So we now have Sean Butler back at it with the 14 of Jeremy Horn here as we speak. Jeremy Horn to the inside, Sean Butler on the outside. But Robert Burris is pulling away, but they will pull him back in here before too long. And Sean Butler successfully clears 14 of Jeremy Horn successfully as they enter turn number 3 off the exit of turn 3. Great run, great slingshot by the 8 of Sean Butler against 75 of Robert Burris with his draft help from him himself, and he's trying his best to just make up that time before too long. And we have Simon Thorns getting ever closer to the rear end of 14 of Horn. Oh, and the caution flies this time around on lap 37 with 64 laps left. Gonna see what happened.
Looking at the drive broadcast and replay, it's going to be the 13 of Charles Smith. As we pull up the replay, we're going to focus on the 13 of Smith, see if we can see exactly what happened here. Oh, it looks like it started actually with the 51 of Paul Cohen. So let's go back here and see exactly what happened here. Looks like it was a yeah, the back end just came around. He spun around, and then he tried to get it spun back around, and I think he saw traffic coming, so he was trying to get out of the way here. And by then, the leaders went around. He actually made contact with Jeremy Horn. So there's going to be some damage there on some of our leaders' cars.
Oh man, yeah, that was very unfortunate indeed for every single driver involved in that. Oh, yep, he made contact with 13 of Charles Smith, including the 14 of Jeremy Horn. That is a bad day for those guys. In this case, the one who got the most damage from that was 13 of Charles Smith. But good thing they still have one backup car, ladies and gentlemen, so they can be able to stay competitive and be back out there before too long. And as we speak here up front, Robert Burris is in the race lead. Sean Butler 2nd, Jeremy Horn 3rd, Simon Thorns 4th, and Noah Lewis in the 5th place spot. And that was a very unusual looseness by 51 of Paul Cohen. Very sudden at the same time, man. He was not expecting it, and neither was I. With the way these machines have been handling, they're more tight than loose. And but that was still a nice attempt to save it by Poe. It could have been worse. But going back up front, Robert Burris is leading everybody down pit road, and they are following. And behind the pace car, we have Mark McFadden, Joshua Jones, including Stephen Leffler. So we have Mark McFadden and Stephen Leffler, 2 drivers, 1 lap down. And Joshua Jones, the first driver, 2 laps down. So they're all trying to get 1 lap back. If that's the case, Mark McFadden and Stephen Leffler will be back on the lead lap. And Joshua Jones back to 1 lap down from 2 laps down. It's going to be amazing to see. So hopefully that happens. But they might end up going down pit road to be on the same strategy as everybody else. But they just pitted in about 9 laps ago. So they should still be good when it comes down to green flag running here once we go back green. And so far, Jim Whaley Jr. has come a very long way from 15th place to 6th. Just one spot below the top 5 behind 98 of Noah Lewis. Yep, Jim Whaley new to the top 10. And Rolf Just still maintaining top 10 behind the 3 of Jeff Dawson. And one more driver new to the top 10 is the 33 of Mark Kochik. And going back up front here, we have Sean Butler, who was able to win the race off pit road. If you guys remember correctly, we had Barras leading entering pit road, but he got beaten off pit road by Sean Butler. So Sean Butler is going to be in the race lead. Robert Barras 2nd, Jeremy Horn 3rd, Simon Thorns 4th, and Noah Lewis in that 5th place position. And we are back 1 to green. Yes, we are. We have Mark McFadden, Stephen Leffler back to the lead lap. Congrats to these 2 drivers. Joshua Jones back to 1 lap down from 2 laps down. We are back 1 to green. And the status check on 13 of Charles Smith. Charles Smith is on the track as we speak. He got that brand new machine, not a single scratch on that beast, and ready to get back to what he was doing before. And Jeremy Horn still in the 3rd place spot, so that looks like that did not affect him too much, if any. And I'm not sure whether or not he used his backup car, because that machine looks very clean. But we're gonna find out once we go back to green flag racing. Everybody down to 2nd gear, going green this time around. The green flag is out, and Sean Butler is now on the pedal as we speak. We have Robert Barras 2nd, Jeremy Horn 3rd, and Barras trying to challenge the 8 of Sean Butler. And side by side up front before as we speak here between Sean Butler and Robert Barras, but Barras gets around Sean Butler, bumping him down to 2nd place. At the same time, Jeremy Horn under fire from this 57 of Simon Thorns, side by side. This would be a good time to get a Crank It Up cam in, ladies and gentlemen. Turn up the sounds, turn up the volumes, and enjoy. was a cranky lap cam, ladies and gentlemen, but we were interrupted by a caution that involved 14 of Jeremy Horn, unfortunately. Oh man, gonna see if we can catch that on replay.
As we look at the replay focusing on the 14 of Jeremy Horn, looks like, oh, bad net code got him around there. Definitely looks like bad net code. As it looks like Sean Butler was going around him, and then the 57 machine guys got close, but didn't look like no contact. Let's see if we can get it from another angle here. Unfortunately, I don't have another angle, but that's going to be bad for Jeremy Horn.
Oh man, bad netcode indeed, man. Nowhere close, and that was bad netcode between Jeremy Horn and 57 of Simon Thorns. Oh, and early on, I was wondering whether or not Jeremy Horn used up his reset, and nope, he did not. So now he got the brand new machine out. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Horn is still in it to win it. Going back up front, being led still by Sean Butler, Robert Barras second, Simon Thorns third, Noah Lewis fourth, and Jeff Dodson in the fifth place spot. And we have three drivers. Yep, three drivers. Happy to see the caution. That is Mark McFadden, including Steven Leffler, because they will be able to go down pit road and get brand new tires. Because if you remember correctly, they were not able to do that during the last caution because they stayed out to get their laps back behind the pace car, or ahead of the pace car in this case. We have up front Sean Butler leading everybody down pit road, and everybody is following. But up front here, Robert Barras stayed out, including Jeff Dodson. So now new race leader Robert Barras, and we have Jeff Dodson second. Yep, Jeff Dodson second, and Jeremy Horn in the third place spot. I think Jeremy Horn is going to get bumped down due to him pitting in there pit road was closed when he got wrecked out as we spoke. And this is bad news for the 76 of Joshua Jones, because we will not be able to get the wave around the pace car due to the leaders staying out up front. Well, Barras, including Jeff Dodson. Oh man, hopefully he's able to get his lap back at a later stage. And we have Pocono as well on the track, 2 laps down. He got a piece of the action there early on, and he's 2 laps down as we speak as well, trying to get his lap back, or his laps back in this case, same as Joshua Jones. In the race off pit road was won by Sean Butler, who was leading on pit road to begin with. So he was able to maintain the race lead, or the lead off pit road. Simon Thorns right behind him. Noah Lewis, Rolf Just, Ronald Vincent, and Charles Smith right behind the 8 of Sean Butler. And Joshua Jones, Paul Cohen have no choice but to go down pit road. They have nothing to lose. So yes, they are on pit road here as we speak. Gonna get 4 tires, full tank of gas, and they'll roll off. And up front, we are back 1 to green. Yes, we are being led by Robert Barras, Jeff Dodson second, Sean Butler third, Simon Thorns fourth, Noah Lewis fifth, Rolf Just sixth, Ronald Vincent 7th, Charles Smith 8th, Jim Whaley Jr. 9th, and Mark McFadden in the 10th place spot. And since the drivers up front, the two drivers up front did not pitch in, namely Robert Barras, including Jeff Dawson, they'll have 7 lap older tires, or 7 laps more on their tires compared to everybody else. Gonna see exactly this. This is now when Christopher, there in the chat, you were asking about how bad the tire wear is. We're about to find out here if 7 lap older tires make a difference compared to those newer tires. We talked about how these machines are pretty good when it comes to tires, conserving tires. So we're gonna put that to the test before too long. Going green this time around. Exiting turn number 3, Robert Barras is on this thing, trying to get the best restart. The green flag is out. He finds the gas pedal. Jeff Dodson right behind him was all in the same situation, but he actually got caught slipping a little bit. Enough for the 8 of Sean Butler to look to his inside, side by side. But a roadblock by Simon Thorns here. Actually, Simon Thorns here trying to make a hole for himself, but so far was boxed in and just had to back off. But 98 of Noah Lewis to the inside of the 3 of Jeff Dodson. And Sean Butler up front against the race leader, side by side. Jeff Dodson to the inside of the 8 of Sean Butler. Here we have both Barras and Dodson going against Butler, but Dodson falls short of the exit of turn 3 due to having a bad entry. As a result, a free lunch program by the 98 of Lewis and 57 of Simon Thorns here as we speak against Jeff Dodson. But so far, Jeff is able to maintain the spot against Simon. No, they make contact, the Simon Thorns and Jeff Dodson. No harm done. The momentum pushed Jeff Dodson forward, but Simon Thorns back, unfortunately. But Simon Thorns here still rolling, trying to catch his breath, trying to gather his thoughts back to get back against the 3 of Jeff Dodson. But up front, some side by side going on between Butler and Barras. Oh, Barras to the inside of Sean Butler, side by side here. Sean Butler takes over the race lead on lap 50, and we are now halfway. Well, technically, next lap we will be on the halfway mark. So 51 laps left here this time around. And for 50 laps complete and 51 laps left, I know it sounds weird, but that's only because we have the lap 100. We still have to race it out until lap 101. But up front here, Sean Butler gets around Barras again. It's a leapfrog action going on between the two drivers here, just working together for a common good. And, they just might be battling out. At the same time, they are working together. So it's two things in one when it comes down to it. And third place driver Noah Lewis being shown about 8/10 of a second behind the two drivers, Barras and Sean Butler. Actually, that just went up to 1.1 seconds, but Lewis is being approached by 57 of Simon Thorns. But Jeff Dodson is on pit road as we speak. I believe he's on pit road. Actually, no, scratch that. He just lost connection. Oh, that's very unfortunate for Jeff Dodson. He was doing very, very well. Hopefully, he's able to get back in here before too long. And for the back in the pack, some more battling going on here. There was between Ronald Vincent, including 51 of Pocono. But Pocono here is now being challenged by the 72 of Stephen Leffler. But no harm done position-wise, because Pocono is 2 laps down. Stephen Leffler back on the lead lap. But the drivers decide to just ride together as a 3-car pack. Namely here, Ronald Vincent, Pocono, including Stephen Leffler. But we have 46 of Jim Whaley, who was trying to make some moves there during the last lap, but just decided to just fall back in line behind the 48 of Mark McFadden, as getting a very good run off his rear end, I guess in this case. Yeah, not rear view, but rear end. And yep, Jim went to the inside of 48 of Mark McFadden, but McFadden's slingshot engaged off the exit of turn 3 against him, and he's able to maintain that spot against Whaley, and that keeps Whaley into the 8th place spot. By 14 of Jeremy Horn is getting attracted by this battle all over the rear view of 46 of Whaley. And ladies and gentlemen, with less than halfway to go, 53 laps complete and 48 laps left to take our first commercial break of the evening. We'll be right back, so please stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pocono Indy 250. That's the Pocono Indy 250, round 13 of 15, round 13 of 16, with the Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon Indy Car Series. And we are under caution here, and most of the drivers going down pit road as we speak, being led by Simon Thorns. No, scratch that. That was the by Robert Barris. But Simon Thorns is staying out and has become the new race leader on lap 59 here with 42 laps left. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for a league to join on Saturday nights, either Saturday nights or Tuesday nights, here Roaring Thunder offers just that. On Saturday nights, they have an IndyCar series like you see right before you. And on Tuesday nights, an Pro Mazda series, which are both open wheel. So open wheel Pro Mazda and open wheel Indy cars. So yes, join either of those or both of those based on your preference and availability. Once again, the website here is americantracker8.wixsite.com/RTRL. American Tracker, the number 8.wixsite.com/RTRL. Or simply check them out on iRacing in the league sections page. Just search up Roaring Thunder Racing League and you will find them. And Simon Thorns here this time around, having 13 laps more on his tires, but is deciding to go down pit road here as we speak. And we should be getting the one to go. He's accompanied by the 51 of Pocono. Yeah, Barras up front. Actually, we have Sean Butler, the new race leader. Robert Barras second. Rolf Just third. Jeremy Horn fourth, and Steven Leffler in the 5th place spot. And we are back 1 to green and 1 driver. Get the waiver on the pace car. That was the 3 of Jeff Dotson. He is back. Oh man, getting some intel from Chris Potter in the chat. Noah Lewis, the 98 of Noah Lewis's pit crew. He had a speeding penalty, unfortunately, and he's going to have to start at the tail end of the field. He's received an end-of-the-line penalty, EOL, here on iRacing. So that's very unfortunate, but he will be back up there before too long. And going green on lap 61 with 40 laps left. And we still expect at least one more pit stop in order for the drivers. Yeah, you know, for the drivers to be able to make it almost, I was going to say 2. Yeah, about to find out, but at least one pit stop in order for them to make it the rest of the way. The green flag is out, and Sean Butler finds the gas pedal, but Robert Barris is all over his rear end, and now side by side as we speak. And Sean Butler, man, is having some difficulty here on these restarts while he has Barris behind him, and Barris goes to first place here, entering turn 1, and chops the nose off of 14 of Jeremy Horn. Well, Butler chopped the nose off of Jeremy Horn, but goes back up high to get back around the 75 of Robert Barris with the help of the 14 of Horn. And 43 of Rolf Just is getting attracted to this battle going on here up front. And he's getting very close to the 14 of Jeremy Horn. At the exact same time, Just has a motor roaring in his rear end. And that is 72 of Steven Leffler. Leffler is here to do some damage. Oh man, at this point, he has found 5th gear. I mean, he found the highest gear possible a long time ago. I forget how many gears these things have. It's just way too long, man. And the caution flies on lap 62.
That looks like that's going to involve the 13 of Charles Smith as we pull up the Dre Broadcasting replay. We're going to take a look here and see if we can see what happened with Charles Smith. We take a look at him, it looks like he was riding back in the pack here. It actually happened in front of him. I think I can't see what machine that was.
Oh, that was Ronald Vincent.
All right, let's go back and see what happened to Ronald Vincent here. Contact between Ronald Vincent and looked like Noah Lewis set him around, and Charles Smith got collected up in that.
Oh man, yeah, that was unfortunate for both drivers involved, especially 13 of Charles Smith and Ronald Vincent getting the worst end of that deal right there. And in this case, if 13 of Vincent's machine is slow enough, basically he uses backup car there early on. So Charles Smith just might be done for the evening if that's the case, because once again he uses backup car. His only quick fix there early on, but that's still unfortunate. But going back up front here, Sean Butler in the lead, Robert Barrett second, Jeremy Horn third, Rolf Just fourth, and Steven Leffler rounding up the top 5. Oh, we got John Marine in the chat. Welcome back, John Marine. Hope you're doing well tonight. Hope you're having a heck of a weekend. And the drivers just pitted in 5 laps ago, so it makes me wonder if whether or not they're gonna pit in. Oh, and also Joshua Jones got his lap back last caution, and is in the top 10 as we speak. So he'll be going down to pit road because he did not pit in. He has 18 lap older tires, and he was one of the drivers very happy to see the caution. And we have drivers going down pit road: Jeremy Horn, Noah Lewis, Jim Whaley Jr., Joshua Jones, including Ronald Vincent. But the drivers up front: Sean Butler, Robert Barrett, Rolf Just, Steven Leffler. They are including Mark Kochik and Simon Thorns deciding to stay out, and this does give us time to get a race interview in. So let's focus on the 72 of Steven Leffler. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we joined up here in the booth by the 72 of Steven Leffler. Good cop there, Steven.
Yeah, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. My night started a little rough, but I'm back in it.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, you had a very rough start. Had to get your laps back the hard way. That was very commendable, keeping your head up high and doing a lot of damage than ever before. Ever since you got your laps back, man, you've been on a road just getting nothing but higher up here in the positions. How's the machine been treating you, man?
Been good. It's pretty tight when it gets behind other cars going through the turns, and it's kind of a fight going into 1. Besides 1 and 2 and 3, it seems to be nice and smooth. But 1 definitely, when you're in traffic, it's rough. It's hard.
Oh man, I can only imagine. And one of our viewers out there was asking about how bad the tire wear is when it comes down to this. Are you feeling any effects of the tires in the long runs?
So I haven't been using my tires too hard. The fact that I've been a couple laps down and behind, so I've been trying to save my tires as much as possible. But it seems to be after about 10 laps or so, you can start feeling a little bit of wear on it. It's not too bad though. But definitely getting here up towards the end of the race, I'll find out if it's going to be really heavy on the wear once I really get into it.
Oh, copy that, brother. Well, man, you've managed to stay alive. You know, you started off rough, and now it turned around for the better. Ever since then, you've been taking advantage of that. We look forward to seeing you 3 spots higher. You came from the dead last to 4th place, and now 3 more spots to go. Make us proud as usual, buddy, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
That was 72 of Steven Leffler, starting behind the 43 of Rolf Just. We are now back 1 to green, being led by Sean Butler. We have Robert Barras still second. That's Robert Barras. Rolf Just third. Steven Leffler fourth. And Mark Kochek in the 5th place spot. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we've lost one driver, 13 of Charles Smith. But we look forward to seeing him again back next week at Gateway. And absolutely there, John. Yep, if you were 777, that would be something, man. Thank you. Well, we're going green this time around, being led by Sean Butler. The green flag flies as soon as the the green flag just flew as we spoke right there, and Sean Butler finds the gas pedal, but Barras is all over his rear end and all over his inside now as we speak, side by side as usual, entering before turn number 1. Man, Barras has these restarts down, and Rolf Just here trying to play catch up between or against the two drivers, Barras and Butler, but Butler falls back in line behind Barras, but then up high, Butler goes against Barras and still side by side. Oh, we have Mark Kochek here is getting overtaken left and right as though he's sitting on jack stands. 3 wide, 98. No, Lewis trying to take it 3 wide. Nope, he backs it off. He was trying to take it 3 wide against Mark Kochek, including the 14 of Jeremy Horn. But here, Jeremy Horn to the inside of 98 of Noah Lewis. And here up front, we have 33 of Mark Kochek who topped the apron and got shot all the way up high, almost into the exit of turn 1 wall, but was able to hang onto the machine and not do any damage whatsoever. So nice save by Mark Kochek. He's still in it to win it, and one more driver trying to poke his nose here into this mix. That is the 48 of Mark McFadden. But up front, Sean Butler still going at it with Robert Barras. Barras the inside still, and Butler on the outside. Butler just might have him off turn 1. Yes, slingshot engaged. Is going to clear him before turn 2. Just keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, it's a leapfrog between the two drivers. But now here, Barras gets a good run against Sean Butler. But then exiting turn number 2, he's able to edge him out. But that is attracting a lot of attention, namely Rolf Just, Simon Thorns as well. And a status check on the 76. That's 76 of Joshua Jones. He is back in it to win it in the top 10 behind now his next victim, the yellow machine, the 3 of Jeff Dotson, who is still 2 laps down as we speak there due to some bad luck where he ended up losing connection to the server and is trying to get his laps back the hard way. It's got overtaken by 76 of Joshua Jones there. No harm done. And now Joshua Jones' next victim is the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. And going back up front, 14 of Jeremy Horn here on the inside of 57 of Simon Thorns, but he clears him. But it is now pulling the 72 of Steven Leffler with him. Yep, Steven gets around 57 of Simon Thorns. So Thorns just lost 2 spots in 1 lap against Jeremy Horn and Steven Leffler. And that bumps him down from 4th place down to 6th place. He's going to try and get those spots back because he's been fighting very hard all race long here tonight. So, and as we speak now, he's on the inside of 72 of Steven Leffler. Oh man, 98 of Lewis, 33 of Mark Kochik going at it as we speak. But now Kochik against the 72 of Steven Leffler side by side. These guys, it's like it's the last lap. They are racing hard, trying to take while they can. Yeah, it makes it very, very interesting. 72 of Steven Leffler here drifts way high, but then arcs it in nice and low on the exit of turn 3 against Simon Thorns. He has to let off the gas because he was getting a very good run against Simon Thorns, and to avoid tapping him, he let off the gas because that could have been disastrous. These things have become very light under speed, and we have here Steven Leffler being approached from the rear end by the 98 of Noah Lewis. Mark Kochik pulling on the 98 of Noah Lewis here as they both draft off the 57 of Simon Thorns. Oh no, Steven taps the apron. There's rumble strips there at the curb. No harm done. Well, he lost some speed and momentum in the spot against 33 of Mark Kochik, but he's trying to just do it all over again and so far to the inside of Mark Kochik, but nope, scratch that. Kochik slingshot off turn 3, and here is gonna lead a big nose, actually not quite a big run against him by Steven Leffler. At the same time, 98 of Noah Lewis trying to poke his nose into the mix as well. Don't know what I just said right there, but I was trying to say that, oh no, Lewis goes side off the track in the grass, smacks the wall, the front wing is lost. Oh, Noah Lewis. I'm not sure if we can catch that on replay, Dave.
Yeah, it looks like there was contact there. Noah Lewis is going to be on the receiving end of that, and he is going to be heavily damaged.
Oh man, that's unfortunate for the 98 of Noah Lewis. Decided it had to end like that for him. I do not believe he's used his backup car yet, and correct me if I'm wrong there, Chris, and Chris Paporta, crew chief. But I believe Noah Lewis should still be in it to win it with the use of his backup car. But as we speak, Noah Lewis is getting towed down to pit road. So hopefully he is still in it to win it with a brand new machine. Well, going back up front, Sean Butler, Barras still going at it here side by side. Barras the inside still, Butler on the outside of turn number 3. We still have Barras leading quite a nose lead against Butler and maintains that race lead. But Butler not giving up. Oh, yeah, we just got confirmation right there, ladies and gentlemen. The 98 of Noah Lewis is still in it to win it with a brand new machine. Well, that's once he gets done towing, because he's still getting towed. And here we have the 4th place driver, Rolf, just trying to get up to the back bump, the rear end of the 14 of Jeremy Horn. These things don't have any back bumpers. And as we speak, Jeremy Horn is just riding, having a Sunday drive behind Robert Barras. He's letting the 2 drivers have their beef, namely Barras and Butler, and he's just staying away. And later on, he's going to benefit from that greatly. Going to try and maybe pounce on both of them when they're most vulnerable. And as we speak, Barras back to the inside of Sean Butler here. The leapfrog continues between the 2 drivers, and Jeremy Horn gets ever closer. Is he going to try and just ride for now, or maybe try and get a run with one of the drivers who has the preferred race groove, but so far is getting charged on by 43 of Rolf Just. And 77 laps in, ladies and gentlemen. 24 laps left here in tonight's race. Noah Lewis is still on pit road as we speak. He's been on pit road for over 150 seconds, which is way over 2 minutes. Let's see. Yep, he's still on pit road as we speak. Is the driver in the machine? The driver is not in the car. There are some times when drivers forget to uncheck their fast repairs, and that ends up using it up, even when the machine is not damaged. So hopefully that was not the case, and it's still maybe getting towed, because maybe the towing is very long, because sometimes it can go on to about 4 minutes. So hopefully that is the case. But here for the back in the pack, 33 of Mark Kochik trying to catch up to his next victim, the 57 of Simon Thorns. And they were able to put a gap, quite the gap, between themselves and the 72 of Stephen Leffler. Before the incident there were a big pack. We had Stephen Leffler, Mark Kochik, Simon Thorns, including 98 of Noah Lewis. But they seems to have broken that up. But at the same time, at the moment only, we have Mark Kochik and Simon Thorns here within each other's draft. In this case, Mark Kochik in the draft of Simon Thorns and getting very, very close to him with every single straightaway hand between the turns. And for the back in the pack, we have Joshua Jones. Joshua Jones is being shown about 5.4 seconds behind the race leader Robert Barras and about 0.2 of a second ahead of the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. So if Joshua Jones and Jim Whaley start to work together, they just might be able to gain some time against their next victims. Mark Kochik, actually that's going to be Stephen Leffler only here in this case. So yep, Stephen Leffler, their next victim. But that is easier said than done. The leapfrog should pay off. And we should expect to see at least one more pit stop. Yep, one more pit stop should be required. The drivers now have 21 laps left in tonight's race after running 22 laps on their tires and tanks. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here with almost 20 laps to go, I'm going to take a final commercial break of the evening. We'll be right back, so please stay tuned.
Don't let your first date be your last. Visit People Against Distracted Driving at PADD.org.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pocono Indy 250. That's the Pocono Indy 250, round 13 of 16, Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon IndyCar Series. And we are in the closing stages, and green flag pit stops have come and go. Yes, they have. We're on the commercial, but we have one more driver, actually two drivers still needing to pit in, namely Ronald Vincent, the leader up front, including Jeff Dodson, but everybody else behind them have already, well, everybody else behind Ronald Vincent have already pitted in. But Ron Vincent is actually going down pit road as we speak, and being accompanied by Jeff Dodson. That's going to pass the race lead over to the 75 of Robert Barris. And we now have 14 laps left in tonight's race. That is 14 laps remaining. It is go time, and these green flag pit stops always separate the men from the boys. And scratching, looking at the field, scanning the field, not sure why I said scratching, but scanning the field, the driver who had the fastest pit stop was... looks like that's going to be the 14 of Jeremy Horn, who had a 5.6 second pit stop compared to everybody else who had over 6-second pit stops. So it looks like Jeremy Horn took 2 tires compared to everybody else who took a 4, or maybe he just took less gas than everybody else. But hopefully we're able to find out here before the race is over, but I can't quite tell exactly because these pit stops are very, very short due to them being Indy cars. So the pit stops are always less than 10 seconds long for a full tank and with 4 tires. But the gap in between the two leaders up front, Robert Barris is in the lead with 2.8 seconds ahead of Sean Butler. Jeremy Horn 3.1 seconds behind Robert Barris. Simon Thorne's 4th. And 43 of Rolf Just in the 5th place spot. And we got Noah King in the chat, and that is Noah Lewis. Welcome, Noah Lewis. Hope you're doing well tonight, man. It's a heck of a show on your part tonight, and it was sad seeing it end that way, the way it did. But I look forward to seeing you back again next week, man, at Gateway. And some side-by-side going on here for 4th place between Simon Thorns and Rolf Just. Simon Thorns on the inside, Rolf Just on the outside. They're both about 3.9 seconds, almost 4 seconds behind the race leader, Robert Barris. With Robert Barris up front having no help. If the two drivers work together here, they do the leapfrog, they might be able to catch up to him. But keep in mind, again, it is go time. The friendship stuff is out the window, and it's all about taking and no giving at all, if any. But up front here we have Jeremy Horn taking over 2nd place against Sean Butler, and Sean Butler is drafting off Jeremy Horn as we speak. It looks like Sean Butler is trying to do the leapfrog with the 14 of Jeremy Horn against Robert Barris, and they were able to shave off a tenth of a second against Robert Barris's lead during that one lap right there. And we see Jeremy going back at it with Sean Butler. Yes, the leapfrog is working. Great strategy. The good thing about it, if they continue this leapfrog, they'll be able to catch up to Robert Barris before the race ends, because we now have 10 laps to go. That's right, 10 laps to go. And going back to Simon Thorns and Rolf Just, they are now doing the leapfrog as well. Simon Thorns ahead of Rolf Just, exiting turn number... Oh no, Rolf Just smacks the wall, I believe. Yeah, I heard a big loud bang. Yes, Rolf Just made some contact with the wall off the exit of turn number 1. His machine just pushed Actually, good thing he did not make contact with the front end. He made contact with the side of it, the middle, the part between the right front wheel and the left front, I mean the right rear wheel as well. So not much harm done, if any, to that. Well, it's going to mess with the aerodynamics, but the draft of Simon Thorns should be good enough to keep him in check. And yes, Rolf just getting around Sean Butler. Yep, Sean Butler just lost about 3 spots. Yep, 3 spots to Jeremy Horn, Simon Thorns, and Rolf just... Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Sean Butler. I'm going to try and see exactly what happened there. Oh, yep, he did the same thing that Rolf just did. His machine just pushed up into the wall of the exit of turn number 1. And he lost all his speed momentum in those 2 spots right there, man. And as we speak here, he's just trying his best. Oh, actually, he's suffering very much from the damage. We noticed there Rolf just made the exact same thing, but the only difference between the 2 drivers' contact was that Sean Butler's front end, the wing, made some contact with the wall. But with Rolf just the situation, only the side of the machine made contact and the wing was spared. The front end was spared altogether. But Sean Butler, as we speak, man, he is dropping the drivers behind him. Steven Leffler, Jim Whaley, they are catching up to him. But up front here, Robert Barras now having a 2.8 second lead still against the second place driver, Jeremy Horn. But now this makes Barras' lead a whole lot easier. It's a Sunday drive, all that clean air, and nothing to worry about. And we now have only 6 laps remaining. And some more drivers very close together here. We have Mark McFadden here riding behind the 76 of Joshua Jones. And during the green flag pit stops, looks like Mark McFadden had some bad luck there on pit road. Ended up going 1 lap down. So Mark McFadden is the first driver 1 lap down. He's actually being shown under speed. Yeah, his machine is not... He's on the front stretch as we speak. His speed is increasing, but not as high as it should be. So it looks like Mark McFadden most likely has some kind of damage on the machine. I cannot seem to find any damage on the machine of McFadden, but it does seem to be struggling. Oh, and John Marine in the chat that you mentioned early on that if we have a caution with 5 laps to go, that's going to end the race. Well, with 4 laps to go, it will end the race only because, you know, it's single file restarts. That is 1 less pace lap. So, yeah, any caution after 4 laps to go is going to end the race. So, yep, next flag ends the race. We are 4 to go. Jeremy Horn was able to shave off a second, or not a second, but a 1/10 of a second lead against Robert Barras and bumping him down to 2.7 seconds. But he died. That is not enough time not enough laps left, basically, for Jeremy Horn to pounce on Robert Barras. And the closest drivers we have here so far include Sean Butler and Steven Leffler. Actually, that just changed right there. Because Sean Butler is still struggling despite the draft help he's getting. But here we have Rolf Just and Simon Thorns about 3/10 of a second apart from each other. And as we speak, Rolf Just is getting some mad draft from Simon Thorns for 3rd place. And if Barras wins this thing, that's going to give him his 11th win of the season. That would be quite impressive. He's had a heck of a season here and has been leading in points for a very, very long time with Charles Smith right behind, and then Jeremy Horn rounding up the top 3 in the point standings. And 2 laps to go. Yep, 2 laps to go. Next flag is the white flag, the final lap. And Rolf just gets ever closer to the 57 of Simon Thorns, and the draft is working overtime. His heavy foot as well. Rolf just, his right foot is working overtime as well through the floorboard, most likely scraping the racing surface and causing some friction here as we speak. But Simon Thorns drifts way too high off the exit of turn 1. He's able to maintain a little bit of momentum against Rolf just. Well, they are now side by side between turn number 1 and 2, still going at it. Rolf just gets around Simon Thorns off the exit of turn 2, but Thorns is now with the slingshot off of his rear view or rear end, entering turn 3 side by side. No contact made. Simon sideways. 43 Rolf just in the wall. Oh man, that's unfortunate, but Robert Barras up front brought this thing home. That's Barras bringing it home. Jeremy Horn second, and third place has been taken away. Gonna try and get these new names. Stephen Leffler third, Jim Whaley Jr. fourth, and Joshua Jones in the 5th place spot. What a heck of a turn of events for Rolf Just, including Simon Thorns, but a heck of a race overall. And ladies and gentlemen, interviews coming up among the top 3 drivers, Robert Barras, Jeremy Horn, and Stephen Leffler, so please stay tuned. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we joined up in the booth by the top 3 drivers, Robert Barras, Jeremy Horn, and Stephen Leffler. And a smoke show coming up. And we got him just waving to the fans out there. A great donuts here by the race winner tonight and the leader in points, Robert Barras, having success back-to-back last week at Mid-Ohio and tonight at Pocono Raceway. Good copy, Robert.
I got you.
How you doing tonight?
Man, my hands are sore. I dropped off my league race on Sunday night and immediately had to tear the whole house apart to get my floors redone. My rig used to sit on carpet, and now it's on laminate with a exercise mat or a yoga mat underneath it, and it seems like it's a lot more sturdy, which means all the motions and the feedback that comes out of the wheel kicks right back up into my hands, and it's a handful. I was holding on for all I could. This track is amazingly bumpy, so it's been quite a workout. But other than that, man, I'm in a pretty good mood now. Coming back with the win here, and so that's good to rebound after the events of last week. Bit off a little bit too much and we could chew then, but we got the win here. I think looking at the, Charles had a bad night, so I think we might have the championship locked up for the season here. So we're gonna go out and we're gonna have a party.
Oh, copy that, man. Yep, great success on your part. And speaking of the points, yep, starting tonight's race, you were 240 points ahead of Charles Smith. So, yep, congratulations, man, if that's the case. It's been a heck of a season, man. This is your 11th win of the season, 11th win of 13. Very, very impressive. And you talked about how you had your hands full, man. Very bumpy track at the same time. You had a new driver, new competition, the 8 of Sean Butler, all over you pretty much every single lap. Was that you guys' strategy, trying to just leapfrog and pull away from the rest of the field, or was just pretty much you guys battling?
I think it was just battling, at least on my part. I wanted clean air. I didn't really know how it was going to play out with the aero, but it seemed like if you could get out front, maybe 5 laps into a run, that the tires would kind of equalize on you, and that lead, that clean air would really help. So I just wanted to kind of get that clean air, keep it. If there were chances where guys were side by side, kind of start playing some of the NASCAR games where you see with that draft package where the leader can kind of play both lines against each other. And so I tried a little bit of that. It seemed to be working. But other than that, yeah, I had a blast going back and forth with them, just trying to figure out the error of these cars. It's something I've kind of, I think, it's one of the things I've probably struggled with. I've been fortunate to get some green flag pit stops throughout the season and take advantage of those to get myself clean air out front. And I think ultimately that's kind of what the difference was again tonight, is that last green flag pit stop, I was able to get enough of a gap out that even with the guys trying to leapfrog, they couldn't make up enough time to close the gap back up.
Oh, most definitely, man, and heck of a race on your part as usual, man. Very, very interesting to hear your point of view of things here. And you went through so much, and you were still able to keep your cool. And also, after this race that you talked about, you most likely have the points wrapped up. So congratulations, man. I look forward to seeing you again back next week at Gateway. And before I let you go, celebrate any final words.
Well, I just want to give a thanks out to Jeff, everybody, all the admins for the Warren Thunder Racing League, and you at Trade Broadcasting for putting this on, and iRacing again for the platform that they've created that lets us do this competitively, and that's about it.
Well, congrats, brother, on your success here tonight and all season long this far. And see you again next week at Gateway, and go rest those hands.
Will do, thank you.
And that was Robert Barras. And next in line is defending champion, who was last week's winner, 14 of Jeremy Horn. Get up there, buddy.
Yeah, I got you.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right.
Oh, man, Jeremy. It was a heck of a performance on your part. Every time we saw you, you're just pretty much battling. But at one point, you just seem to have been just riding behind the two drivers up front, battling it out. That was Barras and Sean Butler, just pretty much trying to buy your time at the same time, trying not to lose their draft. But how's your race tonight?
Well, it was very eventful. I think I went from the back to the front, I don't know, several times. And just like you said, good battling all night. Was fortunate enough to lead some laps there and get a good finish out of tonight. It was kind of a wreck fest.
Oh man, most definitely, man. And when it comes down to it, when it came to the green flag pit stops, we noticed you had the fastest pit stop, which was a 5-second pit stop compared to everybody else. The next driver competing against you when it came to pit time was had a 6.7 second pit stop. Give us a rundown of your pit stop, man. Did you take 4 tires, 2 tires, or just a little bit of gas?
Well, I come in on that last caution, and nobody else did, even though we had 3 laps. So I just filled her up, trying to make sure that I could take less fuel. And like you said, I had a real quick pit stop. I only had to put 9 gallons in it. But if it wouldn't have been for me being a rookie and blowing past my pits, I probably lost a good 4 seconds doing that and having to back up. So the race might have turned out different if that would happen. But you just gotta clean up those mistakes a little bit if you're going to beat Robert.
Oh man, 10-4, man. Still a successful night on your part, despite that mistake on pit road. And even though you were going throughout the up and down the field, you were still able to finish up into the up behind Robert Barras up there in the top 3. Very, very impressive. So great success back to back last week Mid-Ohio, and this week here tonight Pocono Raceway, and then 1 spot higher again next week at Gateway there for that race as well. Well, but before you go celebrate, any final words?
I just want to thank you for broadcasting this for us. Thank Jeff and everybody at the league for putting this thing on, and just all the drivers come out and race with us. We had a good field tonight, and just thank my wife and my son for giving the time out to let me do all this.
Well, congrats on your success here tonight, Jeremy. Go celebrate and see you again next week.
Thank you. Y'all have a good week.
That was the 14 of Jeremy Horn finishing second place. But next is the driver we spoke to there during the race. 72 of Steven Leffler back with us. Get a copy there, Steven. Get a copy.
Yep, I'm here.
Well, man, you lived up to your word, man. You did spank these guys. You put on a heck of a show. Stayed alive. Executed some excellent green flag pit stops. And when we spoke to you, you were in the fourth place spot, but was able to finish in third place spot, securing yourself in the podium. Give us a rundown of your experience during the last couple of laps, man, because it was every man for themselves.
Yeah, well, coming up to that last run we had, got that restart and going into 2, I kind of got in the curb and I thought I was going to lose it and had to drop back. I fell back to 7th or 8th or something like that. And I just, tried to make consistent laps, get in the pits, make a nice clean pit stop, not blow through the box. Got that done, got back out, and I happened to get back in front of the 33 coming off pit road, and ended up making a big gap in the between him and me to keep him from drafting me, so that gave me some breathing room. But coming up to Sean Butler, I think it was like maybe 8 laps to go or so. He had gotten the wall a couple laps before, and I passed him going into 1, and it wasn't very ideal where I passed him at, and I thought I was going to hit the wall coming out of there, and then almost hit the wall in 2. So the last 8 laps or so were pretty nerve-wracking, but I settled back into a groove and finished it out. I don't know what happened coming out of 4. I was running 5th on the last lap, and then ended up crossing the line 3rd. So I think I kind of got a little bit lucky on that. Should have been a top 5, but I'll take a top 3. I'll take a podium any day.
Oh man, indeed, and great driving experience on your part tonight, man. Everything wasn't going as planned, but you ended up staying positive, keeping your foot down the floor, and abusing the machine the most that you possibly could, and you were successful by the end of it. But next race next week we're traveling to Gateway, man. What are expectations for Gateway? It's a different beast compared to this.
I have yet to race there, so it'll be a brand new track for me, and looking forward to it. Get some practice time in this week and see how we do.
Oh, 10-4, brother. Well, congrats on your success here tonight. We look forward to seeing you 2 spots higher at Gateway. Looking at your stats here, so far you have 2 top 5s and 7 top 10s, but now this gives you your 3rd top 5 and your 8th top 10, so very impressive. And we look forward to seeing you again next week, man. And before you go, man, any final words?
Yeah, just want to say thank you to you guys at Dre Broadcasting for putting this on every week. The guys in RTRL for all that they do to organize this and get it going. My family back in California, and then of course my family here in Pennsylvania for being able to do this every weekend and enjoying what I do.
Well, congrats, brother, and go celebrate. See you again next week.
Thank you very much, guys.
That was 72 of Steven Leffler finishing in 3rd place. So that was Robert Barras, Jeremy Horn, and Steven Leffler. Top 3 here tonight. We had Jim Whaley Jr. 4th, Joshua Jones 5th, and rounding up the top 5, Rolf Just, Sean Butler, Simon Thorns, Ronald Vincent, Mark Kochik, Mark McFadden, Paul Cohen, Jeff Dotson, Noah Lewis, including Charles Smith. That's all the way from 6th place to 15th, respectively. Heck of a race, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys enjoyed the show here tonight. Round 13 of 16 with the Roaring Thunder Racing League, the Verizon IndyCar Series, and the next race is next week, round 14 of 16, the Gateway Indy 156. That's the Gateway Indy 156 at Gateway. That's going to be a heck of a race. That is quite the track to have the Indy cars going around, but that's going to be something to look forward to. Thank you very much for being a part of the action here tonight as well, ladies and gentlemen. We can never ever thank you guys enough. Oh, David, any final thoughts?
It was a good race. It'll be interesting next week.
And ladies and gentlemen, the next broadcast we have is on Monday night, the ExtremeMotorsports99.com Pro K&N series. So be sure to check in if you'd like to be watch some K&N machines go around some of the amazing tracks. I am Sean Zulu, and David Everly behind the cameras. And also one last shout out before we close off. Join the Roaring Thunder Racing League. Check out their website, americantrucker8.wixsite.com. That's American Trucker, the number 8.wixsite.com/RTRL. Or simply go to iRacing under Leagues and search up Roaring Thunder Racing League to be a part of the action. I am Sean Zulu and David Everly. Have a good night. Thanks for watching.